Furlough Podcast, brought to you by All American Ford in Aniana, Alabama. Stop by and see John Makovica and his team today.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Furlough Podcast. We have via Skype today Haley, the food ninja. This has been a little bit of a long time, well, I wouldn't say a long time coming. We've been working things out for at least a week. Very happy to have her on. You look quite lovely today, and
thank you. So do you. I love your t-shirt. You picked it out for me.
Just for you. It's my Sasquatch t-shirt. You know, off to the woods we go. So, for those that don't know, Haley is now you split time from UK and Spain, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was living in Ibiza full time for 5 years, but then I decided to move back to the UK just because I got really, really busy working with a particular group of people. And also, like, Ibiza's fucking expensive, right? It's so expensive.
Oh, is it really?
Really expensive. Yeah, it's a nightmare. I don't know if any of you ever gone on holiday, you know, the typical drinking and partying and stuff, but yeah, it's super expensive. So yeah, sunshine is lovely, but you know, can't have everything, can you?
What part of the UK are you in?
Well, do you know, it's a more difficult question than it ought to be because I move around a lot. So even though I've moved back to the UK, I haven't actually decided where I want to live. So at the moment, I'm with my daughter. She lives near Wales. That's the best way to describe it to Americans, right? Because if I say Hereford, you're going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? But kind of near Wales. But I will be settling eventually back in Nottingham. I'm going to be spending 2 months in Brighton, January and February as well. So I move around a lot. I'm like a little hermit, like a little nomad.
That's good, though. I mean, it's good to have a little nomad or a little gypsy in your soul is what my wife likes to say.
Exactly. Because I work completely online, 100% online. So that's how I keep up with all my clients and stuff. So I can basically be anywhere in the world to work as long as I've got Wi-Fi. I can't live without Wi-Fi, right?
Right. Is Wi-Fi difficult over there? I've never spent time in the UK or really in Europe in general, but I know I've been told, I don't know if this is true, but I've been told that the internet service is a lot different over there than it is over here. And like us, we pay a flat rate and we can just use as much as we want. I didn't know if that was the same there.
Yeah, we can do that here. I mean, it's like 25 years since I was in America. The Wi-Fi wasn't great when I was over there, so I've got nothing to compare it to. But yeah, we've got like fibre optic and stuff now. It's way better than it is in Ibiza. In Ibiza, it's just a nightmare.
Oh, okay.
It's basically like going back to dial up again. It's, you know, infrastructure is like a little island. So I guess it's hard for me to say because I'm comparing it to I've just been in Ibiza for 5 years where it was shit, and now I'm kind of like, wow, it's so fast over here.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing. I know that you're into nutrition and you're a nutritionist. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
I am. Right. I am. Yeah, I'm a nutritionist, and I work specifically with business owners. So we look at basically using nutrition as a base, but lots of other lifestyle factors as well to make them look, feel, and perform at their best. You know, because when you've got your nutrition right, you look and you feel better. It also affects your performance everywhere, right? In your life, all areas of your life, your business, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I use mostly nutrition, but a lot of lifestyle factors. Stress management, all that kind of stuff too.
What do you do on stress management?
So we look at different ways. So first of all, we benchmark, because I used to work in IT, right? So I love data. I'm a right fucking nerd. So I get all my clients to collect all this data about themselves, which they love because I've got this massive sheet for them to fill in. So we collect where they are, first of all, in terms of a benchmark. So I rate their stress from 1 to 10. We might do that for a couple of weeks. And then we'll look at maybe particular times of the day where they're stressed out, and are there events that happen before or after that cause that. And then just get them to do recovery activities, both like physical and mental, So recovery activities are different for every person, right? So, you know, I'm not telling everyone, oh, you've got to start like being a yogi and do meditation crap, because I'm not a woo-woo person, right? I hate all that crap. But mindfulness and being logical about the meditation and stuff, then, you know, that's a good thing to do. Or I have clients pick their own recovery thing. It's just a recovery activity, something where you're not thinking about all the shit that stresses you out. So like I've got a client who, she plays the guitar, so she practices the guitar every day. I've got clients who like doing the meditation. I've got clients who go out and have a nice walk, that kind of thing. So it's just making sure that they do, you know, at least 20 minutes of recovery activities a day. And also sleep is a massive one. You know, the world looks a lot different when you're not tired as shit. So if you get a decent amount of sleep every night, you're more sort of equipped to cope with day-to-day stresses, and they don't affect you quite as much as they would if you were tired.
Right. Like for me, I do. I'm a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, and so I do a lot of.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So choking people is my stress reliever.
Yeah, don't say that too loud, will you? With your Into the Woods t-shirt on, choking people in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, to me,
but yeah, no, sorry, I was going to say that's a brilliant way to de-stress.
Well, I think you're definitely onto something as far as I think a lot of people think de-stressing is going home and just sitting on the couch and watching TV. And I don't think our bodies are created like that. I think that we have to exert something out to get those. I don't know if I'm using the right word. Sometimes I try to use words I don't really know, but maybe endorphins out or something, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I think the biggest problems that people have, even if they have you know, people say, well, I got a family, I can't do this, I can't do. Take everybody out. Let's all, you know, do something. And you know, I think sedation of, and I love watching movies. I'm a movie guy. Don't get me wrong, but if you do it all the time, it's just I just think it just drags you to the floor. And I think that's why people that retire, they say once you retire, you know, you just wither away and die. It's because you don't do anything.
Yeah, absolutely right with all of that. Because, you know, when people say, you know, that's a very common excuse I get because of the kind of people I work with, entrepreneurs and stuff. They're like, oh, I'm too busy, or like when I'm at work, I've got to spend my family. And I'm like, you have to be fucking selfish, right? Because if you don't take care of yourself, you are not going to be able to do all of the other things or take care of the other people that rely on you. You know, so if you are working 10 hours a day, you're burning yourself out, you know, what is your family time looking like? It's probably, you know, you, like you say, flaked out on the sofa with the kid either side watching a movie. Like, that's not family time. That's not spending time with your family if that's all you do. So, you know, you have to be, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? You can't help everyone else if you don't sort yourself out first. So you have to be a little bit selfish and just reframe how that feels, because you know, we're also kind of like, we wear it like a badge of honor how busy we are, don't we? Oh my god, I'm so busy, I'm so stressed out because my life's so packed and whatever. Like, that's bullshit, right? You're just going to end up stressed out and you know, having a heart attack when you're 50. You have to take time to do these recovery activities, whatever they are.
What kind of when you talk to people that are like, I'm extremely busy. I do a lot. My wife says sometimes I do too much. But but as far as nutrition goes, what kind of things do you tell people to do to eat healthy? Because it's so easy to just grab stuff from the Quick Mart, the corner store, and just garbage. Really, anything that's processed is, you know, it's simple, fast, and cheap, but it's not really great
Yeah.
for you. So obviously,
Yeah.
meal prep is what they try to tell everybody, but I find that sometimes even meal prep can be a daunting task. You know, you want to, you know,
Yeah.
what can you do to keep it simple?
Yeah. So first of all, I don't subscribe to that school of thought, right? Because I live in the real world and no one's got time to meal prep for 5 hours on a Sunday and have 24 perfectly identical Tupperwares that they can Instagram and all that shit, right? That's not world. If you're maybe doing a bodybuilding competition or something and it's your life, then maybe you can do that. But over here in the real world, we look at things like, not all processed food is that bad. You've got to look at what your goals are, right, and where you are now. So I'm very much about meeting people where they are. If somebody comes to me and they're eating like chips for breakfast and takeaways all the time, I'm not going to start telling them they need to drink freaking kale smoothies and only eat clean and grass-fed beef and all that shit. We've got to look at what are you doing now and what's one small thing that we can do to improve that situation. If you keep small improvements every day, they will add up in a few months' time. So things like meal prep, like what I do, right? So I'm busy as well, right? I run my own business. I'm trying to do all sorts of shit all the time. But what I do is I just get a load of chicken breasts, and I don't know, maybe you guys must have them over there. Have you seen like those bags where they've got seasoning in them and you just put the chicken in it and then just chuck it in the oven?
Yes.
We
have some that's called shake and bake, and some that's called you can have some with crumbs on it, but you can have some with glaze on it and things of that nature.
Yeah, exactly. So another nutritionist might say to you, hey Chris, you know what, you shouldn't be using those because they've probably got a bit of sugar in them, or they've probably got this. Like, fuck that. What are you going to eat otherwise? You might eat a takeaway otherwise. So at least if you are prepping your chicken in those bags, a bit of flavour, it's nice, you can put a shitload in the oven all at the same time, roast them off. I put those in a Tupperware, keep them in the fridge. I will hold my hands up, I'm probably a terrible nutritionist because I buy microwave rice, right? Stuff that you put in a microwave for 2 minutes and it's cooked, because I haven't got time to stand over a saucepan for like 40 minutes while I'm cooking brown rice. No. So I will do that. I buy vegetables in the supermarket. You can get in the bag, buy frozen vegetables in the bags. So if you've got those things, you've got chicken, rice and vegetables there, that's healthy. Okay, some of it's pre-prepared, some of it's been frozen, whatever. If you're going to eat that when you would have been eating a pizza from Domino's, like, what's better? You can't go like, oh God, it's not all clean and like unprocessed and you haven't cooked from scratch. Well, I've got time and I'm eating a pizza. So what I'm doing now is better than what I would have done. So that's the way you need to look at it. What can I do to be a little bit better?
Oh, that's good. And when you start people off, what is your typical client like when they can't come to you? Do they want to, is it stress, or is it weight loss, or is it, all of it? I mean, how does somebody find you? And if they're looking for you, what are they looking for?
Yeah, so most people come to me predominantly for weight loss, first of all, although that is changing a little bit now. So basically come to me for weight loss, and that's kind of, sounds really bad, it's how I hook people in, right? Because if you try and sell to people, oh, if you improve your food, your mental clarity will improve, like, they're like, I don't really care about that, I'm fat, I don't want to be fat, basically, is what most people want. So as I said, I work mostly with business owners and entrepreneurs, and they find me on social media. Like I said, I know social media gets a bad rap. I love social media. I run my business on it. That's how I get my clients. So I can work with people all over the world as well, which I love. But predominantly they come to me for weight loss. But generally, when we delve a little bit deeper about why here, you'll find out, along with being fat, basically. Sorry, I'm using the F word. I know that triggers some people. As well as being fat, they are tired. They have no energy. They're stressed out. They are uncomfortable with the way they look. So a lot of the people I work with, they are quite high up in their industries. So they will be doing things like presentations, like high-powered sort of sales meetings. They'll be getting on stage and talking because they're generally an expert in their field. If you've got to get up on stage and you know that you look like shit, right, that's going to affect what you're saying. What you're saying could be the most revolutionary, amazing in your industry, but if you're not delivering it in a confident way because you feel a bit crap, and I'm not just talking about physical appearance, I'm talking about that lack of confidence that comes from the fact that you know you're not looking after yourself, right? You know you're going to bed late, you know you're living off Red Bull because you've got no energy, all that kind of stuff. So even though they come to me saying they want to lose weight, what I know they really want is to not feel shit, to be able to put themselves out there more confidently, you know, to turn up at a sales meeting, because when you're a business owner, you are your business. So if you like, if I was fat, right, who's gonna listen to me? So you have to, as though you've got your shit together, if you want other people to believe you can help them get their shit together. And that's the same across any kind of business area, really. So yes, although they come to me fat loss, but quickly there's a whole host of other shit going on that needs sorting out.
Well, I definitely like what you're saying, because I think a lot of times when you don't have that personal self worth, if you will, I think that affects how you are. It's, sort of like taking a public speaking class. If
Yeah.
you may be the guy that has created, or girl that's created the greatest widget ever, but if you don't have confidence telling people about it, then people don't really trust you. And so
Yeah.
I can see that is, if even if you're a decent public speaker, but you go up on stage, or just interact with your employees, if you're dragging around, and
Yeah.
I know I look at my peers, if they look wore out, if they look stressed, unconfident on a project we're working on, well, that doesn't build my confidence. So if I work with
Yeah.
somebody, and I don't want a guy that's doing cartwheels like he's on cocaine down the middle of the aisle, but I want somebody that, when they walk to me, and that just has that vibrant, vibrancy about them.
Exactly.
I feel like it's somebody that I can go to task with, and really work on a
Exactly.
project. So I feel what you're
Yeah,
doing.
it's like, like they look like they've got their shit together. You believe in what they're saying, what they're doing. They look like they're shit together, and it really does affect your business and your bottom line more than you think if you're not coming across well. Like I went to an event here in the UK called Expires in June. David Goggins was there, actually. He was one of the speakers, and one of my clients.
What was the name of it? I kind of glitched out on you a little bit.
It's okay. It's called Expert Empires.
Okay.
It's an event run by a guy called James, and he brings lots of kind of inspirational speakers or people who are really sort of experts in their field. And one of my clients was speaking there, actually. David Goggins speaking there as well, and obviously he's a guy who looks like he's got his shit together. But there were a couple of other people there who, one in particular, obviously I won't name names, but they were supposed to be an expert in their field. They were a little bit overweight, not much, and I'm like, well, that's neither here nor there. But when he was pacing across the stage, he was really out of breath, and because he had a mic on, it was picking up how out of breath he was. So I didn't listen to the fucking words that he said. It might have been brilliant, but he was just so out of breath. I was just like, oh my God, I can't, why are you out of breath walking up and down the stage? So, for me, and I like to think I'm a judgmental person, but I was just kind of like, oh, well, I've not listened to anything he said because of the way he's coming across. So I think, a lot of other people in the room probably felt the same thing.
Absolutely. I mean, well, if you go to, I don't know. I mean, that's probably the best example. I like to paraphrase and make up examples, but that's probably the best example that anybody could ever give out. I mean, are you gonna listen to a person that's gonna be your bodybuilding trainer and they look like they just got off the couch? Or are you gonna listen to somebody that, or you gonna listen to a person that's gonna teach you how to fight, but it doesn't look like they've ever been in a fight in their life? It's just, I think,
Exactly.
yeah, I think you definitely should be what you're trying to sell, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And just to be clear, in case anyone gets triggered, it's not a weight thing, right? Because also there are those people that on that stage who are, normal weight or skinny or whatever, but they're clutching a can of Red Bull. They've got dark circles under their eyes, and you can see they're like obviously teetering on the edge of some breakdown, stressed and sleep deprived and not feeding themselves properly. So I just wanted to say that because I know people might think that I'm just going on about weight all the time. It's not a weight thing.
Well, let me ask you this, and this is semi-loaded question. Do you think a lot of people in the game and what you're doing are in it for the money more than anything else?
Yeah, unfortunately, in my a nightmare. It's an absolute fucking nightmare, and I'm ashamed a lot of the time. I have to say, because there's so many like fad diets out there that people are selling with purely money. They don't have people's well-being at heart. So I'm an evidence-based practitioner, which means that I don't promote any type of products or shakes or pills or anything that doesn't have a decent sized body of evidence to suggest that it actually works properly. So I don't even supplements, things like that, unless they're very well evidenced. But I am in a very small minority, myself and other evidence-based practitioners, because we are not listened to as much, because what we're selling you is not sexy, right? It's not drop a dress size in 10 days or let you keto, paleo, or like that all sounds super exciting, right? And there's loads of rules and let's all get like motivated by it and stuff. It doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work because it's not sustainable. There's pills and shakes and things, just discount those straight away. But all these companies like Herbalife, Juice Plus, they've got massive fucking advertising budgets, and they are out there in your face.
Yeah, and I know some people that used to, and it was funny because I knew some girls that were pushing that, and knew them personally, and not just via the internet or social media. I knew them personally, and I tried some products, not just Herbalife, but a few different products, and I have to say it was. They kind of made me feel bad, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to call any single one of those out, and it wasn't all their products, but I definitely think that different products react to different people, and but
Yeah.
I think where we, and I'm guilty probably as well, is we all want to be the super sexy. We're all visual, guys are more visual
Yeah,
than girls
absolutely.
are, but girls have to admit they're a little visual. I think girls say, "Oh, we just like the personality." Yeah, whatever.
That's bullshit. From a girl, I'm telling you, that's bullshit.
Yeah, if I was walking down, if I was walking down the beach with a beer gut and speedos versus walking down with a six pack ab and speedos, I think I'd rather go with the six pack abs. But and
Yeah,
so
there's nothing wrong with having aesthetic goals, right? People go, "Oh, that's really shallow," and blah blah blah. It's bullshit. If you look good, right, it's going to affect your confidence and your esteem and all that kind of stuff. So, if people say like, "Oh, I just want to be able to wear this dress," or "I want a six pack," I'll work with that, right? Because I know that once I get them eating the way that they need to, they will get a whole host of other benefits, and that aesthetic goal will become less important because they're like, do you know what? Like, I feel great. Okay, you feel great. You've got more energy. You're less tired. Your mental clarity is better. Your decision-making processes are better. Like all of that stuff, focus, concentration. But again, that's the boring stuff to sell to people, right? Am I going to, get loads of clients talking about that? I do, because the kind of people that I work with. But there's me over there doing this, and there's some Instagram fake nutritionist with their ass out on Instagram talking about, "I'm going to give you a six pack." Like, who looks more appealing and exciting? It's not me.
well, I'm guilty of looking at the girl with her ass out. I'm just going to be honest with
But
you.
that's fine.
Yeah, I probably give them more credence per clicks, unfortunately, than I should. But and that's my new goal is to relax off of helping those poor girls get through paying their rent.
with
So
they're selling their Herbalife and juice plus, which also I want to say, those people selling those products, they are not qualified nutritionists. So
right.
they go on a sales course. So they go on a sales course to learn how to sell the product, but they are giving people nutrition advice. So it's actually really fucking dangerous what those people are doing. So I just want to tell people to ignore them.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's wrong with just eating somewhat healthy. You know what I'm saying, without all the extra. And my wife and I were talking about it actually in the grocery store the other day, yesterday, and it is very frustrating to go grocery shopping because
Yeah.
there's so much shit, and you look and it's just like it's really overwhelming when you're trying to eat right. And I realize that grocery stores are trying to
Yeah.
just they're just selling food, whatever. They don't give a shit what you eat. And
No.
but it's tough. It's almost like information overload. When you're
Yeah.
going down the aisles,
Absolutely.
and so
Yeah. I mean, top tip for supermarket shopping. I think you do. I think your supermarkets are laid out the same way as ours. So never go in the middle of the supermarket. Keep sides because that's where all like the fresh produce. And I know in the UK it's like fresh produce. Then at the back you might have like the butchery or something like that,
exactly.
and then like water and stuff. So never go down the middle because that's where they put all the shit.
It's funny that you said that because me and a guy were actually talking yesterday or day before yesterday, and we both brought that up. And it's funny they pepper in a few things in the middle that you need to get to, but if you walk,
Yeah.
if you for most of our groceries is if you walk from right to left, like you walk in the door, go to the right, it's all your fresh produce, and then you walk around
Yeah.
the back to the butchery all the way down the back, and then if you go up the thing, it's your last bit of milk and eggs, and then boom, you're out the door.
Yeah,
So
exactly,
so it's
exactly. No need to go down that horrible middle aisle with all the temptation.
and the pastas and all the different things like that. And it's
Yeah.
hard. Now, let me ask you this: do you find it difficult to help retrain people's brain, and do you work meal plans with people?
Oh, sorry, I missed that last bit. Then you cut out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm a little glitchy on my internet on this side, but do you is it hard for people to retrain people's brain, and do you help with meal plans?
Yeah. So I don't do meal plans. I don't believe in them because I'm really, really big on knowledge and education. So
Okay,
I could write you a meal plan right now, and I could guarantee you 100% that if you followed it, you would lose weight. Okay, I could do that because it's just maths at the end of the day, right? Because it's the number of calories that you're eating. Give you that, and then follow it for 12 weeks, and you go like, hey, this is amazing, I've lost all this weight. And then at the end of the 12 weeks I go like, all right, then see you, Chris. And then you'll be like, what the fuck do I do now? Like, I don't want to follow this meal plan for the rest of my life, right? So I
right.
don't meal plans for that reason, because they don't teach people anything. So what I do is I get people to use an app called My Fitness Pal, which I know you have over there. It's a
Yeah, I've
big
seen it.
like thing in the US. Yeah. So the reason I want people to do that is not because of counting calories, although the amount of calories you eat is the most important factor in whether you lose weight or not. That's the law of thermodynamics. You can't get away from it, right? All the people who are saying I only eat 100 calories a day and I never lose any weight because my metabolism's broken. Come over, like you need to get the Nobel Prize for physics or something, because you are defying the law of thermodynamics. There, it's not true. You just eat more than you think you're eating. People don't realize because they don't know what's in a lot of this food, right? So I get people to use My Fitness Pal to log their food, because guaranteed, and it's so easy to use. You can even scan codes in it. So if you're going to eat something that you've got from the supermarket and then you scan the barcode and you're like, holy shit, I didn't realize this had 600 calories in it and God knows what else. It's much more powerful than me saying to you, do you know what, Chris, I don't think you should eat that. You're going to be like, why? What the fuck? Why is she telling me what to do? Whereas if you put it into My Fitness Pal and scanned it yourself, you see for yourself in black and white. So you've got that knowledge and that awareness of what's in that food, and next time you come to eat that food, you're going to be like, oh shit, I remember when I logged that, it wasn't that great, maybe I'm going to choose something else. So that's why I use my fitness power, all about calorie counting. But obviously you don't want to use that forever and ever, right? So when someone reaches their goal, we go through a transition month where I wean them off my fitness pal, but by then they've got all of this kind of like educated themselves about what they're eating. So sorry, coming on to the second bit of your question. So, you know, yes, you're completely right about the mindset stuff, because what I've said there sounds really simple, right? You just got to eat less calories, right? Simple, not easy, because your mind gets in the way. So, you know, even though I'm a nutritionist, I would say about 30% of what I do is educating people about nutrition. The rest of it is working with their mindset, because there's all sorts of reasons why it might be difficult for you to stay in a calorie deficit. You might be somebody who works at night. I'm talking to you at 4 a.m. in the morning, right? So you are going to be tired tomorrow. You're tired, more hungry. So all those night shift workers and stuff, already being in a calorie deficit is more difficult for them. You might be stressed out. You might be going through a breakup. You might have a big family where the kids like to eat certain amounts of food, so you've got loads of trigger foods around you. You know, you might not be able to exercise because you're injured. There's so many other factors. You might be an emotional eater. You might be, I know in the UK, the generation that I grew up in, we were conditioned to, like, you're not allowed to leave the table until you've finished everything on your plate, because starving children in Africa, right, and all the guilt and stuff associated with that. So it took time to retrain myself that I don't need to finish the food on my plate if I'm not hungry. But, you know, it sounds very simple, but there's a whole generation of, you know, people in the UK who are overweight because of that reason. Or it might be that you were with food, you know, or you fell over and scraped your knee, here, have a chocolate bar to make you feel better. All those things like fuck up your relationship with food. So there's lots of emotional eating and stuff going on, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame associated around food. So I have to kind of unpack all of that stuff before we can, you know, get you actually adhering to a calorie deficit all the time. So that was a very long answer to, yes, I do work on people's mindset.
No, I love long answers, because I what aggravates me is when people just give a little blow over, you know, BS answer. But you said a couple things that you know hit with me is I do think people are trigger eaters. I think certain things make them eat. It's sort of like certain things make people smoke. I know some people that smoke. I don't smoke, but I know people that smoke, but they only smoke when they drink. That's a trigger thing, you know. And so they some people, if they're having a bad day, they'll go down to the snack machine. I'm gonna go get a candy bar, fuck it, you know. And so you know, they just
exactly.
And I've probably been guilty of that many times myself. So
we all are to a certain extent, you know, definitely. And I have like specific worksheets where I work with, you know, clients who have that specific problem, and an incident happens, they write down how they were feeling before, how they were feeling after, what was the reason they ate, because it's mostly not hunger, boredom, you know, tiredness, all that kind of stuff. And then we that data into theme here, because I'm a little nerd. We collect that data and then we work backwards and we say, well, what is happening every time this happens? And it's like a chain of events, and all you need to do is break one link on that chain and you can change behavior. I'm making that sound simple now, because obviously a lot of these behaviors are really ingrained, and it doesn't take one or two times of breaking that link. It takes, you know, quite a number of occasions. So we look at things like distraction or replacement of the thing that you're eating, that kind of thing. So yeah, I do a whole host of stuff around that, but everyone does to some extent, you know, because we use, if you think, you know, food's really active, right? We use it to celebrate, we use it to reward ourselves. It's like I say to my clients, right? Don't reward yourself with food. You're not a fucking dog. Like, why are you kind of like, oh, I'm gonna like my pet hate is like, oh, I've been on the treadmill for 300 calories, I'm gonna reward myself with a cake. You're like, why is that a reward? And like, it doesn't work like that anymore.
That sounds
Anyway, that's one of my pet peeves. I'll start to run about.
yeah, that's a little counterintuitive, right? 300, you run a bunch, so you reward yourself with a prize like that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And also, a lot of these machines in the gym, calories are not accurate on them anyway. You think you've, burned 300 calories on the treadmill. It's probably more like 150.
Thank you for saying that, because that has always been my raised eyebrows. Like, how does this thing really know? I mean, I know there's probably an average that some, some guys figured out some algorithm. They figured out, well, if this thing goes around so many times, whatever. But hell, I've seen people on a treadmill. We'll give a treadmill for example. They'll step off to the sides to adjust something, but the treadmill's still running, and you know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden they jump back on. It's like, well, does that count? No, it doesn't count. And so
No,
you see it
no.
all the time.
And also, it's also a really wrong attitude to have, right? A mindset thing again. It's like, I hate this demonization of foods, right? Good and bad foods. I've been naughty. I've eaten this, and I'm really good. I've eaten really clean today. Or, oh my God, I've eaten a cupcake. I have to punish myself at the gym by burning it. Like, it's really fucked up. That's really fucked up. Like, people's relationships with food it's a nightmare. That's like, I say to my clients, you can eat whatever the fuck you like. And I mean that. I absolutely mean that. Because the only restraints I give people is you have to eat the amount of calories that I've prescribed for you, and you have to eat a certain amount of protein, because protein is super filling and it's really good for you. Apart from that, they're allowed to eat whatever they like, but they have to know that, if 1,200 calories is a calorie deficit for you, you can eat 1,200 calories of Snickers, right? Still lose weight. Do you still have Snickers in the US?
Yes,
Or people would be like, what's she on about?
No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
right. So you would still lose weight, but you would feel like shit because
Right.
you're not getting any nutrients from the 1,200 calories. So, clients might start off eating the same kind of things like chips and pizzas and that kind of stuff, but then, and adhere into the calories, but very quickly they realize, like, if I'm eating 1,200 calories, but it's all this shit food, I actually feel terrible. So then we'll start looking at, okay, now you're eating the right amount of calories. Let's have a look at the quality of your food.
Right.
Let's swap out your McDonald's breakfast for a bowl of porridge or a bagel or something like that, and just start to get a few more nutrients in you, because that's why you can eat 3,000 calories of ice cream, right, in one sitting. A lot of people can do that, but if I asked you to eat 3,000 calories of chicken and vegetables, you probably wouldn't be able to do it. And that's because the chicken and vegetables fills you up, because it's full of fiber, nutrients, all that kind of. The ice cream's got fuck all in it. It's got nothing that your body needs in it. So your body just we're not full yet because you haven't given us everything you need, and you're just there with your spoon, like, constantly getting through this 3,000 calorie ice cream. So we do address food quality, but also, health is multifaceted, right? Yes, I'm looking at people's physical health, but then I'm also looking at their mental health. Because if hey Chris, you on these, it's all going to be great, you're going to lose weight, but you can only eat like really super healthy foods. You would probably be able to do it for 2 weeks, but then you might be miserable because maybe your wife wants you to take her out for a pizza and, I can't, I'm on this diet. That's not healthy socially, right? So I've got to try and look at all areas of your health, like, being healthy in a social, having to turn down food, not saying, I can't go out for a drink, So there's a balance to be had there.
Absolutely. Well, my wife thinks that I look at her begrudgingly about some of the weird shit she eats, but I don't. I just like to look at her crazy because she's my wife. But just I like to. We have a pretty good relationship of aggravating each other, so I like to.
That's the best kind.
Yeah, so she kind of turns and hides some of the stuff that she eats, but she doesn't eat garbage. She eats weird shit like fucking olives and
Kale.
pickled okra and stuff like that. I don't think she does the kale thing, but she does like, and she eats more pickles than any person I've ever met in my life. So I don't know. I think we lost her. Let's pause this thing. F9. Well, oh no. Let's see if we can reconnect. All right, got a little bit of technical issues going on. Let's see. F1. A little bit of technical issues going on. So let's try to give her a call back. Ba, 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 ba. Oh no. All right. Well, it seems like we've lost Miss Haley, and we'll try to get her back online. I think she did a great job of working with us and talking to us and giving us a different mindset of retrain your brain. Don't go with the fads. See if you can do the little things that count, and don't make a big deal out of it. Just every little step goes. I know a lot of times that we get hung up on, like we like to use in jiu-jitsu, just sometimes you just got to show up. So just keep showing up, and what we'll do is get her back online, maybe with a better connection. Hopefully she'll be glad to come back on. So we're going to hit this music out one last time. Bye, everybody.